Welcome, my dear student, in our math program for secondary 3. Dear student, today we are taking new lesson. It's titled The Cubic Root of Unity. What do you meaning of the cubic root of unity? Dear student, look at introduction of about unit or cubic root of the unity 1. Look at, dear student, cubic root of unity. Look at the figure. Trigonometry form of unity is cosine 0 plus I sin 0. Cubic root 1. What you meaning of the cubic root 1? The relation between cubic root and power. Cubic root 1 equals 1 power third. Look at 1 power third. 1 is cosine 0 plus I sin 0. Remember, 1 equals in trigonometry form cosine 0 plus I sin 0. Then 1 power third equals cosine 0 plus I sin 0 for all power third. Equals cosine 2 by r over 3 plus I sin 2 by r over 3, where r equals 0, 1, 2. Remember, power third, then r equals 0, 1, 2. Trigonometry form of cubic roots of unity are number 1, cosine 0 plus I sin 0. Number 2, cosine 2 pi over 3 plus I sin 2 pi over 3. Number 3, cosine 4 pi over 3 plus I sin 4 pi over 3. Remember, we have 3 types of cubic root of the unity. Cubic root of 1 equals number 1, cosine 0 plus I sin 0. Cosine 2 pi over 3 plus I sin 2 pi over 3 when r equals 1. When r equals 2, the third cubic root is cosine 4 pi over 3 plus I sin 4 pi over 3. Algebraic form of the root are 1, negative half plus root 3 over 2i. Third is negative 1 over 2 negative root 3 over 2i. The algebraic form of the unity is 1, number 2, negative 1 over 2 plus root 3 over 2i. Number 3, negative 1 over 2 minus root 3 over 2i. Example. Find the roots of x power 3 minus 1 equals 0. Look at the solution. Remember, dear student, x power 3 minus 1 equals 0. Therefore, this is difference between two cubes, x power 3 minus 1 power 3. In this form, from second prep, we have factorization by difference between two cubes. What's the difference between two cubes? Bracket, small bracket, multiply big brackets. The smallest brackets contains x minus 1. Big brackets contains x power 2 plus x plus 1 equals 0. Remember, dear student, when x minus 1 equals 0, therefore x equals 1. Number 2, x power 2 plus x plus 1 equals 0, trinomial equals 0. What is the value of x? We use formula. Let it x equals negative 1, positive or negative, square root 1 minus 4 over 2 equals negative 1, positive or negative, square root negative 3 over 2. Therefore, x equals negative 1 over 2 plus root 3 over 2i, or negative 1 over 2 negative root 3 over 2i, or x equals 1. We have how many solution set of x minus 1, x power 3 minus 1 equals 0? 3 roots. The first root is negative 1 over 2 plus root 3 over 2i, complex number, x negative 1 over 2 minus root 3 over 2i, or x equals 1. Dear student, in this equation, x power 3 minus 1 equals 0, we have 3 roots. Why? Because x for all power 3. X power 3 equals 1, we have 3 roots, 2 complex number and 1 real. What is the real? Is 1. Cubic root x power 3 equals 1, then x equal 1. Number 2, the second root, negative 1 over 2 minus or positive root 3 over 2i, 2 complex number. Remember, dear student, x power 3 equals 1 has 2 imagined roots and 1 real roots. Remember, dear student, this is a very important example. Properties of the cubic roots of unity. What is the meaning of properties of the cubic root of the unity? Number 1, the point represents the cubic root of unity lie in organic plane. What you mean of organic plane of unity circle? With the center as origin and that they divided it to 3 equals arcs. Property 2, the square of any of the complex root is equal to the root. Proof, let the 2 complex roots are a1 and a2, where a1 equals cosine 2 pi over 3 plus I sine 2 pi over 3, and a2 equals cosine 4 pi over 3 plus I sine 4 pi over 3. Since a1 power 2 bracket power 2 cosine 2 pi over 3 plus I sine 2 pi over 3 for all power 2. By using theorem, then a1 power 2 becomes cosine 4 pi over 3 plus I sine 4 pi over 3 equals a2. And a2 power 2 equals cosine 4 pi over 3 plus I sine 4 pi over 3 for all power 2. Then a2 power 2 becomes cosine 8 pi over 3 plus I sine 8 pi over 3 equals cosine 2 pi plus 2 pi over 3 plus I sine 2 pi plus 2 pi over 3. Therefore, answer is cosine 2 pi over 3 plus I sine 2 pi over 3 equals a1. Another proof. Let a1 equals negative 1 over 2 plus I root 3 over 2 complex number, and a2 equals negative 1 over 2 negative root 3 over 2i. Look at the student, a1 conjugate of a2. Therefore, a1 for all power 2, negative 1 over 2 plus root 3 over 2i for all power 2 equals negative 1 over 2 power 2, first power 2, second power 2, first times second times 2. First power 2 equals 1 over 4, second power 2 negative 3 over 4, first times second times 2 equals negative 2 times 1 over 2 times root 3 over 2i. By using like terms, answer is negative 1 over 2 negative root 3 over 2i equals a2. And a2 power 2 equals negative 1 over 2 minus root 3 over 2i for all power 2. First power 2, second power 2, first times second power 2, a2 power 2 becomes equals quarter minus 3 quarter plus 2 times half times root 3 over 2i equals negative 1 over 2 plus root 3 over 2i equals a1. Calorie. Let us denote one of these two roots by omega. What you meaning the omega? One of the roots of unity. And hence the other root is omega square. Hence the 3 cubic roots of unity are 1 omega, omega square. property 3. The sum of the cubic roots of unity is equal to 0. Then we have 3 cubic root of unity, 1 omega square. If we add 1 plus omega square equals 0. The proof. 1, what's the omega? Negative 1 over 2 plus root 3 over 2i. What is the omega square? Negative 1 over 2 minus root 3 over 2i. When add the 3 cubic roots, answer is 1 minus 1 over 2 plus root 3 over 2i, negative 1 over 2, negative root 3 over 2i equals 0. Another proof. Let omega square are two roots of the equation x power 2 plus x plus 1 equals 0, which is obtained from x power 3 equals 1. When we have x power 3 equal 1, this is cubic function. X power 3 equals 1 has 3 roots. One of 2 roots is 1, other 2 roots omega square. Then the sum of 2 roots omega square, coefficient of x over coefficient of x power 2, negative 1 over 1 equals negative 1. Negative 1 over 1, negative coefficient x over coefficient x square equals negative 1. By add 1 plus omega square equals 0. Calorie. Omega plus omega square equals negative 1. Why? Because 1 plus omega square equals 0. Then omega plus omega square equals negative 1. 1 plus omega equals negative omega square. 1 plus omega square equals negative omega. Look at, dear student, important example. What is the value of 2 plus 3 omega plus 3 omega square? Look at, we have 2 plus 3 omega plus 3 omega square. By highest common factor 3, then answer is 2 plus 3 times omega plus omega square. What is the meaning of omega plus omega square, dear student? Yes, excellent student, negative 1. Therefore, 2 plus 3 times negative 1 equals 2 minus 3 equals negative 1. Another example. What is the value of 5 plus 5 omega plus omega square, dear student? Look at, we take 5 highest common factor between 5 plus 5 omega. Then 5 multiply 1 plus omega square. What do you mean 1 plus omega, dear student? Excellent student, negative omega square. Therefore, 5 omega square, negative 5 omega square plus omega square equal negative 4 omega square. Negative 3 plus 2 omega, negative 3 omega square. Look at, dear student. We have, yes, highest common factor between negative 3 and negative 3 omega square. Negative 3 highest common factor, multiply 1 plus omega square plus 2 omega. What do you mean 1 plus omega square? Negative omega. Therefore, negative 3 times negative omega plus 2 omega equals 3 omega plus 2 omega equals 5 omega. Another example. 2 plus 3 omega plus 4 omega square power 2. What is the value of bracket power 2? Look at, dear student, 2 plus 3 omega plus 4 multiply negative 1, negative omega. Why? Because omega square equal negative 1 negative omega. We replace omega square by negative 1 negative omega. Then answer is bracket contains 2 plus 3 omega plus 4 multiply negative 1 negative omega inside bracket for all power 2. Answer is 2 plus 3 omega negative 4 omega for all power 2. Look at 2 omega plus 2 omega square negative omega square equals 2 highest common factor 2 multiply negative 1 negative omega for all power 2 equal 4 plus 4 omega plus omega square. Negative 4 omega square plus omega square equal negative 3 omega square. Look at the student property number 4. The product of the cubic root of unity is equals to omega times omega square equal omega 3 or omega power 3 equals 1. Remember, when multiply omega times omega power 2 equals omega power 3 equals 1. Proof. Let the student cosine 2 pi over 3 plus I sine 2 pi over 3 multiply cosine 4 pi over 3 plus I sine 4 pi over 3. The first is omega, second omega square. Let cosine 2 pi over 3 plus I sine 2 pi over 3 omega multiply omega square cosine 4 pi over 3 plus I sine 4 pi over 3 equals what? Cosine 2 pi over 3 plus, yes, 4 pi over 3 plus I sine 2 pi over 3 plus 4 pi over 3 equals cosine 2 pi plus I sine 2 pi. What do you mean 2 pi? Cosine 180 plus I sine 180. Cosine 0 plus I sine 0. Therefore, equals 1. Cosine 0 equal 1. I sine 0 equals 0. Then 0 plus 1 equals 1. Therefore, omega times omega square equals omega 3 equals 1. Another proof. By using trigonometry function or trigonometry roots, negative 1 over 2 minus root 3 over 2i is omega multiply omega square negative 1 over 2 plus root 3 over 2i. First, second, second, or first power 2, second power 2, first times second for all power 2. But look at omega square. Omega negative 1 over 2 minus root 3 over 2i multiply omega square negative 1 over 2 plus root 3 over 2i. Dear student, this conjugate number, first, second, second, then first, negative 1 over 2, power 2, negative root 3 over 2i for all power 2 equals 1 over 4 minus negative 3 over 4 equals, yes, 1 over 4 plus 3 over 4 equals what? Equals 1. Calorie. Power of omega. Dear student, we have omega 3 equals 1. Omega 3 equals what? Equal omega 6 equals omega 9 equals omega 12, omega 15, so to on equals 1. Remember, omega 3 multiples of omega 3 equals 1. Omega 4 equals omega 7. Multiples of omega 4, omega 7, omega power 10 equals omega. Omega power 5 equals omega power 8 equals omega power 11 equals, yes, multiples of omega square. Dear student, we have very important equation. What is the important equation? Omega plus omega square plus 1 equals 0. We form many rules from this equation. Omega plus omega square equals negative 1. Omega plus 1 equals negative omega square. Omega plus omega square equals negative 1. Omega power 3 equals 1. Multiples of omega power 3, we add the power 3. Omega power 3 equal omega power 6 equal omega power 9 equal omega power 12 equals 1. Multiples of omega square, omega power 5, omega power 8 equal omega power 11, and so on. Then this is very important. When replace omega power 3 equals 1 or 1 over omega square equal omega. Why? Because omega times omega square equals 1. Look at the following important rules. Therefore, 1 plus omega equals omega. Omega power 3 over omega equals what? X and student, omega square. 1 plus omega. Remember, 1 equal omega square. We replace 1 by using omega square over omega equal omega. Omega power 3 over omega equals omega square. Remember, 1 over omega equal omega square. Why? Because by using cross multiplication, omega times omega square equals 1. And 1 over omega square equals omega. Why? Because 1 equal omega power 3 over omega power 2 equals omega. Very important. For all n belongs to z, omega power 3n equals 1. Omega power 3n plus 1 equal omega. Why? Because when we find omega power 3n plus 1, we factorize equals omega power 3n times omega power 1. Omega power 3n equals 1. 1 times omega equals omega. Also, omega power 3n plus 2 equals omega power 2. Why? Because factorize omega power 3n plus 2 equals omega power 3n times omega power 2. Omega power 3n equals 1 times omega power 2 equals omega square. 1 over omega equals omega power 2. 1 over omega square equals omega. This is very important rules. Look at the student important example. Omega power 16. We divided 16 into two numbers, 15 plus 1. Why 15? 15 divisible by 3. Any number multiples of 3 equals 1. Omega 3, omega 6, omega 9, omega 12, omega power 15 equals 1. We divided 16 into two numbers. One of them is divisible by 3. Then omega 16 power 16 equals omega power 15 plus 1 equals what? Equals omega. Why? Because omega power 15 equals 1. Multiples of omega 3. Then omega power 3 multiples it, omega power 15 equals 1. 1 times omega equals omega. Omega power 47. 47, we divided 47 into 45 plus 2. 45 divisible by 3 equals 1. Equals omega power, excellent student, omega power 2. Omega power 47 equals 1. Omega power negative 25 equals 1 over omega power 25. Omega power 25 equals omega power 24 plus 1. Therefore, equals 1 over omega. 1 over omega equal what? Omega square. Omega power negative 101 equals 1 over omega power 101. 101 becomes, yes, omega 99 plus 2. Why? Because 99 divisible by 3 equals 1 over omega square. Omega square, 1 over omega square equals what? Excellent student, equals omega. Look at the student, the property number 5. Difference between the two cubic roots of unity is equal positive or negative root 3i. Very important property. Omega minus omega square equals positive or negative root 3i, or omega square minus omega equal positive or negative square root 3i. Remember, difference between the two cubic roots of unity equals positive or negative root 3i. Look at important example. If 1 omega square are the cubic roots of unity, prove that, dear student, 1 plus omega for all power 16 equals omega square. Number 2, 1 minus omega square for all power 3 equals 8. Number 3, 1 minus omega multiply 1 minus omega square equal 3. Number 4, 1 minus 2 omega plus omega square multiply, bracket contains 1 plus omega, negative omega square equals 18. Solution. Dear student, 1 plus omega equals what? Negative omega square. Therefore, 1 plus omega power 16 equals negative omega square for all power 16 equals omega power 32. 16 even number. Even number, negative replaced to positive. Any negative, its power even is positive. Negative power 16 is positive. we multiply 2 by 16 power times 2 times 16 equal 32. Why? Because omega power 2 times omega power for all power 16, we multiply 2 times 16 equals 32. Omega power 32 equals what? Equal omega power 3. Why? Because omega power 32 equals omega power 30 times omega power 2. Answer is omega power 2. Look at the number 2. 1 minus omega squared equals 1. Why? Minus omega plus omega squared. We have taken negative 1 highest common factor between negative omega squared. Answer is 1 minus omega multiply bracket omega plus omega squared. What is the answer of omega plus omega squared? Excellent student. Negative 1. Then answer is 1 negative multiply negative 1 equals 1 plus 1 equals 2. 1 minus omega squared for all power 3 equals 2 power 3 equals what? 8. Number 3. 1 minus omega multiply bracket contains 1 minus omega squared equals first, second times second, mean times mean, extreme times extreme. First times first 1. 1 times 1, 1. Mean times mean, negative omega. Extreme times extreme, negative omega square. Second times second equal positive omega power 3. Remember, omega power 3 equals 1. Dear student, we have taken negative between negative omega square. Then answer is 1 negative multiply bracket omega plus omega square plus omega power 3. What is the answer of bracket contains omega plus omega square? Excellent student. Negative 1. Then answer is 1 minus negative 1 plus 1. Why? Because omega 3 equals 1. Answer is 1 plus 1 plus 1 equal 3. Dear student, I am very happy to spend such time with you. Remember, math simple, think, work, produce. I am Humphrey again. Goodbye.
بنصبح عليك يوميا على الثانية.
صباح الخير مشاهدينا واهلا بيكم وحلقه جديده من برنامج بنصبح عليك. زي ما تعودتم معانا دايما يوم الثلاث بيكون معانا فقرات متميزه جدا. الحقيقه النهارده هيكون معانا يعني نوع من التميز والتنوع في